First technique we're going to look at is what's known as a wet on dry technique, as you can see here. Now, just like the title denotes, it is wet paint on dry paper. It's a very common technique, very traditional, and is typically really good for painting in some details towards the end. You usually don't start a painting with a wet on dry technique, but this is pretty much the easiest one to use. So just looking here, what I'm going to ask you to do is put in your name and period number, experiment with going from thin to thick lines, going dark to light, and you definitely want to experiment with multiple layers and colors. So, me personally, I like to start and practice this technique using my flat. So, I'm going to come in here. I really like my phthalo blue, but I'm going to go to ultramarine blue, using quite a bit of water and charging up my brush, loading it up. I'm just basically going to write in my name. Now I'm going to come in, make a nice thin line, go thick, thin, kind of in the middle there, and I'm just going to actually just have a little bit of fun writing in my name. It's okay if I run out of space, not a big deal. You can notice I went from thin to thick, back down, thin, thick, and then I've got all these different kinds of thicknesses of my line. Now, I could come back in here. I'm going to grab another color. We're going to go into my phthalo green. You could use whatever colors you want and have some fun. I'm going to go thin, thick, overlap, thin, thick, thin, thick. I'm just going to have a little bit of fun. Now I'm going to actually switch over to one of my other brushes, and I'm going to use my larger pointed round. Get a little bit of water on that. Maybe I'm going to experiment with a little bit of orange. Throw that in there. And just using pressure, I'm going to create a thick line and start to go thin. Paying attention to what happens when I overlap, going thin and thin again. I'm going to try to go from dark to light. Dark right in here. I'm going to add a little bit of water and go a little bit lighter. And you can see how I've created everything that I've asked myself to do. So I've gotten here my name, thin to thick, dark to light, multiple layers of colors. And that, in a nutshell, is wet on dry.